Would you like to see a federal ban on abortion?
I have to tell you, it was such a joy for me when I was putting the finishing touches on this book to actually be able to reflect on the fact that after 49 years, with 3 Supreme Court justices appointed in our administration, we gave the American people a new beginning for life. The Dobbs decision not just overturned Roe v. Wade, but it returned the question of abortion to the states and to the American people. And I celebrate that from really the depths of my heart. You know, when I was a young man, the most important decision I ever made was when I put my faith in Jesus Christ. I opened up the Bible, I read verses like, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And I set before you life and death. Now choose life so that you and your children may live." I knew in that moment, a decade before I would arrive in Congress, that the cause of life had to be my cause. And I must tell you, Chuck, to have been able to champion life in the Congress and as governor, but to have been a part of an administration that gave the American people this new beginning for life is something I'll cherish the rest of my life.
Is that the most important achievement of that, in your mind, of the administration?
I truly believe the opportunity to restore the sanctity of life to the center of American law may be among the most consequential legacies of the Trump-Pence administration, if not the most consequential. But I would also say, with regard to your question, that when Senator Graham introduced legislation to establish a 15-week ban on abortion, I thought it was useful. If I'd still been a member of Congress, I would have voted for it. It was useful in the sense of demonstrating that the Democrats' position is the extreme position. The Democratic Party today supports abortion on demand up to the moment of birth and taxpayer funding of abortion. But I recognize that this issue is likely going to be resolved one state at a time. Some states have already acted to advance the cause of life. And I've said to people, when the Dobbs decision was overturned, we haven't come to the end. We've come to the end of the beginning. And Chuck, it may take as many years to restore the sanctity of life to the center of American law in every state in this country as it took to overturn Roe versus Wade. But as long as I have breath, I'll be in that cause.
Are you you're a limited government guy. I know this, and you really are. Are you comfortable with the idea of essentially government-mandated pregnancy? If somebody doesn't want this child, doesn't want this pregnancy to go through, you're now advocating a law that essentially the government is ordering you to go through with this pregnancy. Are you comfortable with a government mandate like that? The folks in Kansas were not.
Our founding documents say we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights. And the first one mentions is life. And I think government exists to protect life, particularly defenseless life. And I intend to be a part of this, but I think we have an opportunity, Chuck, to approach this debate in a new and in renewed way. You know, when the Supreme Court took this issue away from the American people 49 years ago, there were strong dividing lines that have endured now for 2 generations. But now we have a political debate. And we have the opportunity not just to craft thoughtful protections for the unborn, but also to extend protections and support for women in crisis pregnancy and for newborns. I'd like to see us redouble our efforts to demonstrate the compassion of the American people, to live out the idea that there is no unwanted child, and that in the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world, we can make that the reality.
Do you think the unborn have constitutional rights?
I believe
they don't in our law right now, but do you believe they should?
I believe in the right to life, and do
you believe an unborn fetus has a constitutional right?
We are protected in this country from being denied life or liberty without due process of law. And I believe those protections should extend to the born and the unborn. But this is a long-term cause. And it'll be as much moral persuasion in America as political debates.
Shouldn't that be where it is, though? Shouldn't it be moral persuasion and not government mandate?
I really do believe, now that it's been returned to the political process, Chuck, that we have an incredible opportunity to demonstrate the real heart and compassion of the American people in this cause, to persuade our neighbors and friends to the day that abortion is not only illegal, but it's unthinkable. And when that day comes, then we'll someday institute in the laws of all 50 states.
There are a lot of women uncomfortable with the idea that a politician will make this decision for them.
I understand that. I do. But I really do believe that restoring the sanctity of life to the center of law in every state in this country is at the very heart of achieving a boundless future for the American people.